to episode 13 of Jive Turkeys.
I don't know what was creepier, the 13 or Sam going, yay! Sound like a little kid in the corner. Yay!
So welcome. We have a full house today. Everyone who has ever been a Jive Turkey is amongst us. I'm Jacob, of course. To my left,
Samuel.
To my right,
Samuel.
Across the table from me,
Samuel.
And to my
To the right of
the front and the right of me,
Samuel.
So
Dick
we are
Cheney.
all here today.
Dick Cheney.
So yes, today is the very much promised 13th episode.
We promised them a 13th episode? When did we make that promise?
Not as much
like that.
Not as much as a 13th episode, as much as like we're going to make it creepy. So today is going to be our
Not so much a 13th. It is our 13th episode.
yeah. I was talking about the promise. The promise was, we're going to try to do something creepy, and maybe a little unnerving or something. Just bring.
Well, there's
up
some interesting. There's some interesting stuff going on that has gone on.
There's always interesting stuff. That's the good thing about the.
Some of it's kind of creepy though.
That's why
Let's talk about.
That's why they brought me on the show.
One thing we had this past week was the blood moon. Anybody see the blood moon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Unfortunately,
I
I
missed
did not.
I missed
I
it.
saw the blood moon.
I heard
didn't
about
know
it.
that's what it was, but it made perfect sense once I found out about it the next day.
That's what they call the blood moon. Whenever it's red like that, like an orangish red.
Because I saw it driving that night.
It's creepy.
I thought it was awesome.
creepy.
How
It's a good
often
thing.
does that happen?
It's going to happen 4 times this year. So I don't know.
Okay, I've seen it before then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that rare, but
you've
it's
seen pictures of it and stuff. But it's kind of unsettling.
it is unsettling. I mean, that's
What's funny, all the
Time
What does
to
that
be
say
alive.
about werewolves? I mean,
It's
if
a
full
good time
moon
to
brings
listen
out a
to
werewolf,
typo
but a
negative,
blood
that's what it
moon,
means.
A blood moon brings out the ultra vampire werewolf.
The
it's a
werebears.
It's a werebear.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Don't get Al Gore started again, Jacob.
Oh god!
Just calm down.
Werebears. Actually, I used to do a gaming thing where that was one of the options you could make was a werebear.
A werebear.
Yeah,
I remember
it was,
you telling us
Yeah,
about
it was cool though. I enjoyed it.
It wasn't Final
You said you
Fantasy,
didn't want
was
to
it?
play with
No. It was a.
It's an original idea.
Oh, never
If
mind.
you were out in
Yeah.
the GM a game.
There was a Final Fantasy game where
I'd be
you
up
could.
for that.
It was for Game Boy where you could like breed different characters and cross different characters together, and you could make like They weren't werebears, but like not werewolves, but were-monsters.
I'm a
Well, no, like,
were-mage.
Yeah, exactly.
No, well-
Shit like that.
well,
Were-mage,
Vampire the Masquerade, the
Were-druids.
role playing game. They had a whole set of were creatures. Like you could be were cats, and you could be were bears, were birds, were
Holy
sharks.
shit, what a weird.
They had were sharks.
Damn.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of limited though. Like
Actually, well, in our
like, can
world,
you grow like arms,
in
like
our-
legs
in our-
and stuff and walk on.
well,
like,
yeah.
like
Well,
Darwinism?
in our world, what we had was we created a whale shark
Oh god.
that just basically swam across, and then it would come to land and like turn half, like not whole human, but just half human, so it'd be in that morphed form, and just run across the land until it reached the other side, and then dive back in the water, just lap the earth. That was the only reason we had one, was just to lap the fucking earth.
Nice.
Just because we would be like, hey, what's that? It was so dumb.
Two weeks later,
was
the
it-
same guy.
Now was it like size proportionate? Like did his?
It was supposed to be
just-
huge.
Like okay, so it was actually like a huge.
Yeah, it was supposed to be huge.
body
Like it's
with
just
a
like
giant
running,
whale shark.
like just stomping
Or if
cars and
it
just
was
breaking
just like
shit.
a normal average person with this giant whale shark head just running through the woods.
No, that would be my rare pit bull.
I was picturing just like a whale shark, just with huge athletic legs, dashing through a forest, knocking down trees,
Yeah, kind of. That was kind of the point. Was he just
jumping off the other side of the island and back and forth.
Well, that would be I'm making an overpowered character, but without actually using him. You just did it just for the lulls.
yeah, just to have it, just to have it
lulz.
for the laugh out louds. For those of you that aren't,
We had in Dungeons and Dragons, we had the Leviathan come in. I forget what it's called, but it's like the Tesseract or whatever. But essentially, it's like 3 times the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, if you saw this thing, you would die. Essentially, this thing got up, ran in the middle of the earth, looked around, farted, annihilated a small village that we had no idea existed, and then it toppled over and went into the ocean. Which
Nice.
was weird, but we were like, according to the DM, he said, I was just wanting to do that.
Hey, that's cool though.
Scared the bejesus out of us.
Oh, anytime I had a game, when I was the the game master or whatever, I always had a cop. There was always a cop. He was a redneck cop he was always there just to kind of harass the characters because they would all be riding together or something, and I'd make sure they got pulled over by this guy, and he was always there to harass them. It was always a way for them to get weapons, like right off the get, because he was just, come on now, boys, what y'all doing? Y'all look like skater punks, just whatever, and they'd have to kill him, but they'd get guns and ammo and stuff like that off of the cop. But that was how I always armed my people when we were starting games.
Well, I will remember that if we ever play a game.
That's awesome.
There will always be a redneck cop that pulls them over.
I'll be hiding in the truck as soon as he walks up. Bam! What was that? Nothing.
So
episode 13.
yeah, we already went off on a tangent. You're still going to 13.
That's the wonderful thing about this show. We have so many tangents. Hopefully, we'll have 13 tangents today.
Well, we could have co-tangents.
Or we could have tangerines.
Tangerines aren't as delicious as tangents.
Or co-tangents.
I want to have temper tangents.
I want to have a
So, does anybody here have triskaidekaphobia?
What is that?
That, Sam, is the fear of the number 13.
There's a lot of people that are kind of nervous about that number.
Yeah.
Kind of like the number 666. There are people who are terrified of
It's
that.
just a number.
Those are kind of like my lucky numbers, though. So what does that say about me?
Hey,
I don't know.
Some cultures actually believe that 13 is a lucky number.
Yeah, it is a pretty lucky number.
That's considered to be a lucky number. I
Some
believe
always mark on lottery tickets and stuff.
in Italy, it's a lucky number.
Speaking of numbers, I was on the interstate today and I got off in Glen, and that's exit 333.
Exit 333.
And I just started singing. I just started singing "Halfway to Hell." I'm halfway to hell. And then I thought that'd be a great cover. Just twist it a little bit and going halfway to hell.
Awesome.
Enough room to make up your mind and turn back around if you don't care for it.
I'm not quite in hell.
I blew a tire on the highway to hell. And no cop is stopping to help me. That would be a hilarious comic. You can never actually get to hell because you keep passing signs that says hell 666 miles. This isn't funny anymore.
And it's in the middle of the night, you're tired, and you can't fall asleep. That would be hell.
You're just driving and driving. That's why you just kind of just let go of the wheel.
Well, if you let go of the wheel, then you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and then you can't get out because, you're, like, literally...
Who cares? You're in hell.
That would be your hell. My hell would have nothing to do with that. My hell would be completely different.
Yeah. So
my hell would involve spiders. Lots of spiders. And they would be mating in my face. Like under my skin.
I was going to say in your face?
Like under my skin, crawling and then like mating on my nose just so I could see it going, ooh, and then they crawl out and try and eat my flesh. And I'm like, ah! That would be my hell. Because it would happen constantly.
I mean, that's what you do every morning.
That is rough.
Yeah.
My hell would probably be something like, I don't know, trapped in a room that's continuously burning, like all your flesh and meat would just burn off, and then it would reset, and you're normal again the next day.
I think you would get used to that, though.
I mean, I don't really have any fears like spiders or anything like that would,
Well, that's the problem I have with hell in general, because I think they say you're going to burn for eternity, but I think after about the first week, the first week you're kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
You're just stupid.
It's a pretty contrived concept of hell.
Can you give me something else? I mean, I'm pretty bored with this one. Let's
woman that
I'm kind of used to these
chops
maggots
off my
laying eggs and
testicles every single day, brutally, without any anesthesia. And then the next day, they grow back, and she cuts them off again.
Eventually,
That would be my hell.
Eventually, you'll find that erotic. You'll be like,
No, I would not find that.
No, but I mean, eventually you'd be expecting it. It'd be like, yeah, okay, let's get this over with.
But
Now,
still,
assume your memory is erased after after every single
Well, then
incident.
it wouldn't know your hell. You wouldn't know you were in hell.
Used to that,
Yeah,
Jason.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
But it would still be.
Well, that's the same thing as having your flesh burned off.
Agony.
I mean, if your flesh got burned off every day and regrown and burned off and regrown, you'd kind of be like, this is getting boring,
And then
fellas.
somebody comes in with hedge clippers and cuts off your dick.
What if we were
While
like,
you're
listen,
burning.
So, like, what if we lost an arm or something and it did grow back? Like, I mean, I still don't think I could get used to having somebody rip off my genitals
After about
every day.
Well,
My
It's
hell
like
would
as
be,
brutal as it fucking gets.
no, my hell would be reincarnated as myself. I'd be like, what the fuck, man?
Infinite loop.
Damn it! You know that's where you're at right now. Right?
Yeah, no, this is probably my 6th time through. But I'm doing it differently this time. I'm buying toys.
That's what they always.
Now, next time you'll be like, this is my 7th time, and I stopped buying toys.
I'll keep going until 13.
And the next.
But see, if this is my hell, what does it say about the rest of you? You're stuck here with me, you bastards.
Actually, no, I'm just
That's
here
what
to
we get.
I like living in Jason's hell. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun.
Pretty fun for me. I don't know about you. You better not die anytime soon, though.
I don't think it's as bad for me as it is for him.
We were probably all pirates at one point.
I'm good with that.
We're just all asshole
Well-
pirates.
Well, we are in a little room where
We all got
kinda
scurvy and
we got a little light right here. We're kind of like talking about, killing stuff and whatever. So kind of like we're playing the mutiny. So that's probably how we all died.
Probably.
So
That
and then
would
Sam was probably the one who who weaseled us out because he's over there in the corner like, "Hey, Cap, you listening to this? Hey, you're gonna spare me, right?"
No, we were probably sitting there, we were probably talking, and somebody was like, "Hey, what's this plug for?" Bloop. And then this ship just sank. We just drowned. We were like, "Fuck, really?" It probably wasn't anything violent. It was probably just something stupid. It was probably Andrew. What is this though? Do not.
What's this keg of gunpowder for?
Donut pull? What's a donut pull?
I want to know that.
All right, so going back to the idea of 13, we all have brought our own little kind of either chilling or informative, really mostly just kind of unnerving stories that we're going to share with everybody. Jason didn't really do it because he's a fag, so
I don't have anything that really unnerves me except for spiders, and we just already discussed that. So
I'm kind of a fag too. It's not that I really don't think that anything unnerves me because I'm sure something out there probably does, but I'm really unprepared.
I'm not.
So
I'm a fag because
But
because I
have
like
an
talk.
iPhone,
I mean,
so
I'm just
we'll
kidding.
look some shit up.
It was a joke. Never mind.
Let's look some shit up. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, while he's looking it up,
Yeah, let's go ahead with Ross actually being prepared.
I actually got 2 things. One that creeps is a what the fuck story, and the other one that's a pretty interesting, awesome discussion one.
Cool, so let's go for it.
So the first one, I can actually make a joke and it be in actual context, and this happens once in a lifetime, so I've been using this joke a lot.
Okay.
Have you heard about earlier this week about a lady named Megan Huntsman from Utah?
is that the woman who killed all the babies?
7 dead babies.
And she was storing them in her
Garage. So the first
What the
time,
fuck?
All right, so she was accused of 7 babies between 1996 to 2006.
Yeah, this went on like over 10
Jesus.
years.
Yes. Now, what she would do is, these are all her babies. She gave birth to them. She said most of them were stillborn. The ones that were alive, she strangled. She wrapped them in a t-shirt, stuffed them in a bag, and put them in a box, and then put them out in the garage.
What the fuck, man?
Yes. Now, here's
What's
the
her
really...
number?
Now, the really messed up...
She puts out.
Now, you're probably asking,
And you
well...
don't have to pay child support.
Oh my god, I feel terrible. I'm sorry.
Oh god. Okay.
Well, now the husband, who's been estranged for a couple of years, he was in prison for drug charges.
Yeah.
He claims to be the father of all the babies. And he said he never once knew that his wife was pregnant. Mind you, this is 10 years apart that she's had these kids.
How do you...
So how do you not tell that your wife's breasts are swelling? And
Now,
that she-
second one.
Her belly is growing.
Now, no, if you think that's messed up, because he's in prison, so he may not know stuff. He may be in drug for 3 years, so he had no
you
idea.
got 3 different size brawls.
Now, now this woman.
Wait, where's this at?
Utah.
Yep, there you go.
Okay.
Now the woman.
Oh, wait,
has,
so are they Mormon?
no. Now listen.
That
she has
seems
3
unlikely.
Now the woman had 3 daughters living with her. All her, living with her. Two of them are
She
young.
didn't strangle them.
No, the two of them are young adults. One of them is a older teenager. No,
They didn't know about it.
They did not.
They never went snooping in the garage.
They
What's that
never knew
smell?
their mother was pregnant.
Wait, how do you mask the smell of that?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Because I'm like,
Dude,
well,
man, you really gotta clean your garage. It smells like a pile of dead babies. And the mom just kind of like gets this weird deer in the headlight look and runs into the bathroom. You're just
What
like,
is that fucking joke about a garage full of dead babies?
I got it.
All right, I've got it. What's the difference between?
That's his thunder,
what-
man.
Is that what you're?
Yeah, that's the only time I can use this joke. It's like, what is the difference between a Ferrari and a pile of dead babies?
I don't have a Ferrari.
I don't have a Ferrari in my garage. This was the only
She
time.
could tell that story and be true.
And be truthful.
She probably created that joke.
Now,
She wasn't joking.
now,
We were the only ones left this whole time.
We were laughing to think it was
20 years.
funny.
the husband, when he got back off his prison sentence, he was talking to his neighbor, and the neighbor asked, "So, what are you doing today?" "I'm going to clean out my garage." And the neighbors said in about 10 minutes there was a whole squad of cop cars in front of these people's garages. And now they got testimony from the friends, from the neighbors, from the police, and they all said, "I had this woman babysat my children. She was so nice. I never knew she was pregnant."
Holy shit.
I'm sorry, but there's kind of saw a picture of this woman. If any of you have a laptop or phone, you can pull up a picture.
Is she
has
heavyset?
No, she's not.
Okay. Well, sometimes some women don't show.
Some women don't show, but I mean, she
That's-
would show, especially
Yeah.
if you have 7 kids.
Yeah, you would show something.
Maybe she stayed inside for long periods of time when her belly was growing.
Now you can make baby jokes and talk about it, and I have another one.
You're giving us permission now to make baby jokes?
Yes, go right ahead.
I've made all the baby jokes I'm going to make.
Alrighty. My second one is pretty interesting. This
What's
actually
the
happened.
best part about throwing a baby in a blender? Watching his feet curl up into little fists. Okay, go ahead.
That's not even a joke. That's just a sadistic
That's the
fetish
point.
or something.
That's the point. That's the point. It was just supposed to be depraved.
God. Damn.
That was shocking.
Jesus Christ, Jason.
I don't know if we should put that
You're not allowed to have blenders
You
anymore.
gotta have
It's not allowed to have children. I love blenders.
I just kind of want to keep that out because I don't want to get arrested for that one.
Fuck.
I've got a joke. It might top it. I'm not sure or not. Okay.
Breathe.
Why do they always keep a pot of boiling hot water around when a woman has an abortion?
Oh, Jesus.
So they can make soup afterwards.
Hey, nothing
Awesome.
like a placenta
That
soup.
top it or yeah.
Yeah.
That umbilical cord up in there.
God.
Like egg drop soup, but with umbilical cord.
But actually,
There's
egg
probably some kind of Asian country that actually does eat something kind of like that.
Well, there's people that eat the placenta, so
Yeah. Alf. Grill it up.
they do. They
some
eat
eggs.
it afterwards. They save it and they eat it.
It's available at the Waffle House near you.
I will pass.
Yeah, I want the
would be
placenta
awesome.
and scrambled eggs, please.
Just can you imagine the Hardee's commercial, the new placenta burger? just the hot chick biting into it and
dripping
dribbling
with
on
what
her
you hope
boobs.
is, ketchup.
God. Brought to you by the 2013, or no, it's not 2013.
Brought to you by
Never mind.
Carl's Jr.
We really hope that's ketchup, but it's not.
Sorry.
Oh
Go ahead.
The new Mickey D's burger.
No comment.
We should move on. We're getting into illegal territory.
Now,
Yeah, we
Alright,
stumbled into some uncharted shit here.
so
Just made it really gross. I'm sorry.
my second one. This one's
Are you
interesting.
happy with your 13th episode, motherfuckers? You see what we're making this
Right out the gate, dead baby jokes. Boom.
My second one. Now this is moving away from from disgusting, but more to weird. Deja vu. How many of you have deja vu? I was walking through the clinic the other day, and one of the coworkers was walking toward me, and she was holding a puppy in one hand and a notebook in the other. And she was just walking, going back to put something in the back, and all I was like, I saw this before. Exact same dog, exact same folder, exact same strub going that direction. what the fuck?
Yeah, apparently it's when your brain does a double take. It's like it takes the information and then it takes it again. Like it does a double.
Not like that though, but I've actually I have actually seen this before. Like I have instances where I dream stuff up and I don't pay any attention to it, and then I go to I'll imagine I'll have a dream where we're like
I've had stuff like that too. But I'm saying a lot of times, like your mind, like when you do something like that, you'll try and remember where you fucking thought of that before. And your mind just kind of pieces shit together to make an answer for you because it's like, I don't know.
Fuck, we need something quick.
It's like, I was jerking off. What happened?
Now, I was doing a little bit of research, and there's currently no links to it has no links to any disorder. So
Just because we're all schizophrenic, that's why.
No,
we're all just ticking time bombs ready to go crazy.
Now, however, there is a possible gene if you on a gene that they think that has to do with seizuring because they said
is it Arizona or Levi? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, they said a lot of people.
I believe it's Wrangler.
A lot of people who have seizures. They end up doing a lot of deja vu. Like they'll be seizing and then they'll get up and then they'll go someplace and be like, "Holy shit! I was just like."
They'll get up and go someplace and have a seizure. Go, that just happened to me. I swear that just happened to me.
And
fall on the floor and they get up. They're like, "I was just in this place.
I just shit my pants an hour ago. I know I did. In the same pair of pants."
Now there are two drugs that are known to increase deja vu too.
Two drugs that increase deja vu.
Yeah,
Why would you want that increased?
I don't know because
Are they legal or illegal?
I'm not entirely sure. When I looked at the drugs, they were in foreign countries. One of them is like Tamian, and the other one is called I can't even pronounce that. It's like Jacosalianian.
That just makes you sexually aroused.
Okay, so one of them, I think, I would imagine that's either
one's
German
called
or
ecstasy.
Polish.
That's German or Polish.
German.
That makes me want to masturbate wherever I stand.
I'm thinking Asian. It looks Asian to me.
Amazing.
But I mean, like, what are your like? I mean, I always like talking about deja vu. I like finding the people's best moments of deja vu, and I'd like to hear like what your best moments, like one of your best moments were, like where you just had to stop and go, "What the fuck."
I actually dreamed one time that I was like in two places at once. I was in a car. It was a red convertible, and I was flying down the highway. And there were
Wait. Was this Fear and Loathing?
No, and there were police lights behind me, but I didn't know. In the dream, I wasn't sure that I was actually running from the cops or like in front of them. And as I was flying down the highway, I happened to look to my right, and I saw this little yellow house to the side in kind of a clearing on the side of the road, and I'd noticed some features on the house and the way the driveway looked, and they had like a little garden out back and a little shed and a little dirt path leading up to the house. And then at the same time, I was inside the house looking out the window, and I saw a red car go flying past. Well, I don't know if it was a few months or a year or so later, I was with my family, and we were up in North Carolina going to visit relatives, and we were just driving down the highway, and I see this the same little house out the window to the right, and I had actually drawn a picture of it after I had the dream, and when I saw the house, I knew it was this weird sense of like I've seen this. It's kind of hard to describe. It's
unnerving.
You had this is awesome. At the same time, let's keep moving, please.
Yeah, it was weird. It was strange. I didn't think about that until you said that, but
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
well, it's actually technically it's a combination of precognition and deja vu. You have a precognition that because you dreamed it, and then it's deja vu because you kind of were there.
Did you, or maybe you just time traveled? Maybe your astral form time traveled into the
That's
future.
a whole dude. That is a whole separate topic right there.
Another thing, when I was a lot younger, I could, kind of in a daydreaming sort of state, almost like astral walking. I could go places, and like recall all the details along the way. I can't do it anymore. I don't really know when it stopped being possible, but it was just during the day. If like I daydream a lot, but when I was younger, I could daydream and almost like leave my body and go somewhere, and it was like at the same like the same amount of time it would actually take to get somewhere, it would take me to get there when I would like leave my body. And it was like there was a string or like a strand that attached myself to my body so that I could find my way back. But yeah, it was
I had
That's pretty creepy.
yeah, kind of
when we were in Ireland. We were going to Dublin. We stopped by this random castle, and we got off the bus. And I got off, looked at this castle, and I just stopped because it was like a little picture of exactly bus, and then you had the tour group in front of us, and I'm like, I've seen this before. This is, like I've actually seen the castle. I mean, the person was wearing the exact same clothes. We were doing the exact same thing. But I had this dream 2 years previously.
Nice.
It's like, and it was just a split second. It's not like when deja vu happens, it's just a split second and it's gone. But you have that. So I don't know. Maybe we're just a bunch of psychic people, and that's why we're hanging out here.
I don't know. I did the same thing when we went to the school trip with Virginia. Mm-hmm. I'd had this dream where we were standing in the middle of a town square. But it was like a little older, like an I want to say like early 18th century. Like some of the stuff in Virginia's kind of old. Yeah. And like we were standing in the square, and it was just like me and I think it was one of our buddies. And I'm not going to mention his name, but when we took the Virginia trip, we were walking, and it was a haunted tour of this little town.
a ghost tour.
Yeah, a little ghost tour, and all kinds of. You saw like creepy stuff, I don't know if they set it up like that or not. Like they said, somebody would their husband died and they were waiting for them by the window, sitting in a rocker, and we kind of saw something that kind of looked like a person sitting in a rocker, but that was mostly probably because just for the fun of it. But as we were walking, we walked into this little town, town square, and then I stopped, and sure enough, that was the town square in my dream with the same guy that was in the dream with me, and he was the one that went to the trip with us. And I told him about it, and it was creepy. But yeah, it's really weird. It's like for that moment, you're just like, you don't know what to do. Really.
And because when you first dream it, you're like, I don't know what that was. You don't pay second wind to it.
I hope some of my dreams don't come true like that, because that's some fucked up shit.
It really fucks with your mind.
No, I can
tell you that.
I've had deja vu. Don't get me wrong. I've had things that happen. I can't honestly recite anything that's actually happened. I can't recall, the specifics of anything. I can
it's
remember
just,
going
it's a feeling like in
yeah,
your
where you just
gut.
go, this has happened before, or I've smelled this before, or I've walked through this before.
Matrix.
I've noticed this.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Whenever you see those same things in reality that you saw in your dream, the scenario is totally different.
Yes.
Luckily.
Luckily.
The place is the same, but the scenario is
Exactly.
Actually
off.
reality.
Yeah, it's different.
I mean, this isn't deja vu. This is completely different. But since you were guys talking about dreams,
Let's do it.
Yeah,
we were talking about dreams. I had.
Away from the dead babies.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind.
Back to that.
So I was sawing a bunch of babies in half in my garage.
But, no, this is way off base. But I was watching. This is just an odd, uncanny situation that just kind of freaked me out when I was a kid. This was a freaky thing for me, and it was the first time I'd ever sat down to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Not the first one, but Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
No.
It was playing on HBO. I'd never seen it. I'd never
Warriors.
Yeah. I'd never watched any Freddy movie at this point. So I was like, okay, I'm 8 years old. I'm psyching myself up. Okay.
Yeah, just psych yourself up to watch that.
Yeah, well, I'd watched a lot of horror movies, but I knew sometimes that they would fuck with me. So
Dude,
just in the off chance.
When did you watch Nightmare on Elm Street? How old were you?
I was pretty old.
Yeah, so he's 8 years old. Back off, bitch.
I was kind of young when I saw my first one.
Well, no, when I was 6, I watched The Exorcist, and that fucked me up.
Oh God, yeah, I watched that when I was a child.
So I knew.
I saw that one until I was much older.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Oh no,
That fucks with a child's mind. I'll
Yeah,
tell you something.
just the fuck me Jesus with the crucifix.
Think about it. That was made in the 70s.
Yeah,
man.
but
That shit still holds up to this day.
But that fucked me up. Actually, we'll talk about that in a
You
minute.
want to know some creepy stuff?
Hey,
Okay, never
But
mind.
hang on. So I decided what I was going to do is, in case it got too intense for me. I was smart. If it got too intense, I was going to have the channel recall on a station I knew was safe. I could go to that station and see something, take my mind off of it, and I'd be cool. So I put it on MTV. I figured I could, I'll flip over there. It'll be MC Hammer or
Beavis and
Butthead. Something. Beavis and Butthead went on at that point. This was way before then.
Okay.
Something like that. God, no. It was more like REO Speedwagon. No, Vanilla Ice wasn't out yet. This was.
So you didn't have to worry about watching Real World or anything?
No. It was going to be REO Speedwagon or Asia or
something
or Toto or whatever.
This was before we were born.
Yeah, this was before. Yeah. So I flipped it there, and then I'm sitting there and I'm watching. There's that part where he goes and there's a kid in the hospital bed, and he slices his arms open, pulls his veins out, and he's walking him like a marionette. And I'm starting to freak out because I was like, this is fucking crazy. So I hit the recall button to go to MTV, and it flips to MTV, and there's fucking Freddy Krueger because they were playing the goddamn Dawkins video with Freddy on it. And I was like, and I kept hitting the fucking recall button, and it kept going Freddy, and I was like, oh! And I turned the TV off and ran out of the room, and it took me another.
It took me to see the look on your face when it happened. You switched that fucking channel.
It took me another 2 years to watch a Freddy movie. I was like, I'm done.
Dawkins, gotta love Dawkins.
I was like, son of a bitch. But they were coming. It was because the new one was coming out. Like number 4 or something like that.
Wait, was the Dawkins video Dream Warriors?
Yeah, it was Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
So it was from the movie.
Yeah, but they were playing like they were building it up. It was like they were doing a marathon of Freddy or something like that, and they were going to do this, And I guess MTV was playing because it was like Friday night, and it was coming out, and so they were. And I was like,
awesome.
I was just like, and of course I'm sitting on my bed like this, and I'm afraid to look under my bed because I know Freddy's under there just going, that's the way kids think,
Now,
fuck.
I know.
I'm gonna pour a box of cereal. Want some Wheaties, Jason?
Actually,
Turn the TV
did you see
on.
there was a popcorn commercial from a different country, but it has these people at this party. They're eating the popcorn. Well, Freddy comes in and just scares everyone out of the house. He goes, and then he stops and he notices popcorn, and he's like. And you see it, he's like the next couple scenes are showing him trying to get this popcorn into his mouth with his claw glove, and finally he gets and he gets it in between his two claws, and you see him lift it up to his mouth, and he's like, and then it does a back pan of the house, and you're, nice. That in the Christmas episode. Do you remember the DirecTV Christmas episode Christmas commercial?
No.
They had Silent Night, and you had all these scary figures. You had Jason, you had Freddy, you had Hannibal Lecter, you had the girl from The Ring, you had Werewolf, you had Leatherface. Leatherface was chopping down it was Jason. You had Jason. He chopped down a Christmas tree, and he's holding this little girl's hand as they're walking back with a Christmas tree. And then the Ring girl comes out, and they're talking. And it's all in freaking Spanish. Like you can only find it. And they're talking about. You see the girl from The Ring just come out of her well, walk, and this grandma's watching the TV. She comes out to the TV and has a DirecTV box and hands it to the grandma. And at the end, Darth Vader's at the dinner table. I don't know why Darth Vader's in there, but he's at the dinner table with a little chef's hat on, cutting the turkey and handling it.
What the hell?
That was actually. Speaking of which, Darth Vader. I don't know if you guys watched Night at the Museum 2. The Smithsonian.
No, see, the first one sucked, so I didn't want to watch the second.
Was it the first? No, the second one was. The second one was actually pretty funny because
with Zoolander. What's his name?
Yeah,
Ben Stiller.
Stiller,
yeah.
But there's a part in the second one where they were like, because it was Rama Tut or some, I don't know, whatever, some Egyptian mummy that's come back to life or whatever.
Tut.
I'm just whatever. So it's like he's building this army, and they were like, hey, there's these two guys they want to join up, and one of them's Darth Vader, and he just kind of walks up, and they're like, so what makes you think you should join us? And he puts his hand up like he's gonna choke him, and he's like, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? What is this? I don't get this. And he's like, it's just not working. It was, I don't know. That was the only funny part of that movie.
No, I bet they paid so much for that. Just that split scene.
Now,
Lucasfilm charges shit tons of money for that.
Pennywise, the dancing clown. Who is that? Whose favorite is that one?
Pennywise.
Hiya, Georgie.
That's from It. Stephen King's It.
The one that
movie was such a disappointment.
Tim Curry.
Yeah, Tim Curry.
It was a fucking spider in the end.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, no.
Spoiler alert.
To Jason, that would be a fucking.
Yeah, to Jason,
that'd
that
be
was
worse.
terrible.
It
Actually,
wasn't just a regular
I'm cool with the
spider. It's
homicide.
like this giant monster.
No, it's not-
Spider in the fucking sewer.
No, it's not
that
a-
eats
no,
kids.
it's not that.
Pedophile spider in the sewers that disguises itself as a
You see,
fucking clown.
Because I'm a nerd,
It's
I
scary
read
shit,
the
man.
book.
It preys
Yeah.
on your fears.
It disguises
book is a lot
itself
better.
as
In the book, he is an interdimensional being, that, and he actually
Hello,
he
mates.
makes an appearance in the Dark Tower
that Tim
series, which is
Curry?
awesome.
Does he?
Yeah, they mention him. They because he is essentially like one of the great evils, and he travels from dimension to dimension eating children. So when he's sleeping, he's not really there. He's somewhere else eating more kids. But he is because they didn't go over this in the movie. So when you saw the giant spider, you're like, it's a giant spider. In the book, he is an interdimensional being that will make. He actually makes an appearance in the Dark Tower series. They mention him briefly, and yes,
That's pretty cool.
and they actually make more. And what's funny is because how I love Stephen King is that he makes all his books together.
Yeah.
Like they even mention the town of Drury, which is where it takes place in the Dark Tower series, and they actually mention it in other things like is it Nightmare and Dreamscapes? Is that him?
Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Yes, they mentioned him. They mentioned it in a couple other books. So all his books, it's like simple things. Like, hey, did you hear about that child kill? Like Nightmare and Dreamscapes. The two cops are talking. Like, hey, did you hear about that child murder in Drury?
Well, see, the thing with
it's all in the same state too.
The thing with Stephen King, the movies I like with Stephen King are not the monster movies. I'm not a big fan of necessarily the monster movies. I prefer the situational, like horrors.
Like Pet Cemetery.
Well, more like
Langoliers.
no Needful Things.
I loved that movie.
That movie was
like Needful Things, or
The Mist.
The Mist.
Yes.
Well, that movie-
Was that Stephen King?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, yeah. But see, that was written.
fucking awesome.
It was not necessarily about the monsters. Sure, the monsters were there, but the movie was about people dealing with that.
Yeah.
And how
The helplessness of
how
the
society
situation.
deteriorates into
And then
Yeah.
it deteriorates and then it reforms into another hierarchy that everyone agrees that would work. Like in the book and the movie, where the one crazy lady that nobody pays attention to,
Yeah, the Christian lady.
when as society was, they first looked to the military guys. The military guys killed themselves until there's just one guy left, and finally, they're like, well, what do we do? And she steps up and say, we killed this mofo. We sacrifice him. God will like us for that. And what do? Out the door he goes, and Satan comes and grabs him, and that's it.
They were like, well, I don't have a better idea. Let's do it.
Well,
Somebody doesn't stand up and go, that's retarded.
well, you see, they're afraid of that, because if they go, that's retarded, and 90% of the people go, no, you're retarded,
Well, no,
Out you go.
that's where you go.
Act like that old lady.
They're
and chuck a
afraid if
can
you
of
go,
peas in their
that's
hand.
retarded, then everything's going to clear up, and that woman's going to sue you for defamation of character.
Actually, can you imagine, because in the end of the movie, where it has, after he killed his son, he killed the old lady, he killed the girl that he was having a relationship
I haven't
with,
seen
and he's
that.
sitting there, he is sitting there crying, like, oh god, he wants to go shoot his own brains out, and he's out of bullets, and then
Spoiler alert! If you haven't watched this movie,
2 seconds later, the military
everyone
comes by.
dies except the main guy.
And no, it's even
And
better.
he even kills his child.
Yeah.
Yes, and in the 2 minutes later, the military comes in, and they're like burning all the creatures away, and they're like looking at him like, "Hey, sup?" And then they keep walking, and
Yeah,
he's like,
And he's like, if we could have just waited just 5 minutes,
"Not even that."
No, it was like 15 seconds.
It was
joke.
almost-
No, I mean, from the
He got out
time, from the time he killed his kid to
Yeah.
get out of the car. I mean, if he'd have waited just 2 minutes from the time everybody decided it was what they were going to do.
Well,
It would have been a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
that's the best part of that movie is it was that close.
so you're like, "Dude, what
Fucking
happened to
fucked
you?
up
Why
ending.
are there dead people in your car?" I don't know.
Where were you 2 minutes ago?
Like, can you imagine them like when they got to that eventually got to the grocery store and they had all these crazy religious people like, "You're the devil."
Just burn.
You know what would have been better is if there was one guy before the military showed up. They were just kind of wandering around. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
My next thing is it's kind of a broad
clears.
spectrum of things,
Good.
but ghosts, demons, and again with Tyson's astral projection. I don't know if y'all have seen the new Insidious 2 or.
Oh
seen
god,
the
the
prequel?
first one was just horrible
Yeah, well,
enough.
there was a scene from Insidious 2, actually 2, that I was like freaking the fuck out. One, spoiler.
I'm not sure if I want to watch the
Spoiler
second
alert!
one.
Pretty much, they go into this room. This isn't happening in real life. They go into this room where the serial killer was, and
Wait.
they break down the door, And, yeah, you cover your ears. They break down the door, and there's all these things that are sitting up on pews.
Oh, do they have those ones on the sheets on there?
Yes.
I don't want to.
That one is creepy
Yes.
as shit, dude.
I've made the assumption. I said if all those people just like all those sheets, like if they're doing something and they look back and all the sheets are just like looking at them, out.
Done.
Second one where the kid is sleeping and he's having his. They made a little phone made out of string and tin cans, and and they're brothers and they share the same room. So pretty much one has on his side and the other one has on the other side. So the kid's sleeping and he hears, "Hey, hey," and he goes, "Dalton, what?" He goes, "Hey, what is it, Dalton? It's 2:00 in the morning." "I'm not Dalton." And he sees his eyes really big, and he looks down at the cord, and he follows it. It's goddamn, it's in the closet, and it's laying on the cord's laying on the floor. And as soon as he looks at the closet, the cord straightens out.
Whoa.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck, and he's like talking to this person, and he's like, who is this? And this girl runs out of the closet. And it's not, and it's using goddamn stop motion. I hate that when they use it. It freaks me the fuck out. But pretty much, you hear he's talking, and you're like, what? And she goes, and then you hear help. 2 seconds later, and he's like, what? And then he looks back at the closet, and all these dead people come out after him. I'm like, every time I look at my closet, I'm like, if somebody, I keep a mace by my bed. I'm like, if something comes out of there, I am going to beat the shit out of you. Do you hear me, dead people?
That's intense.
But in the first one, like I was laughing at the first one. I thought it was silly. However, when they were going through the house looking, through the stupid little shutter things, and it had the two girls sitting behind the little, looking behind the dresser, and then did that stop motion where they were looking serious, and then they really big smiles. I'm like, oh, nope. That is a point where I say, screw you guys, I'm going home.
See, I don't know. I've gotten so sick of those kind of movies.
Well, they're trying to make you.
Well, they're not
scary.
No, Saw was fucking gimmicky.
Yeah, Saw was gimmicky.
Well, the first one I enjoyed.
Yeah,
the first one was fine.
Well,
And that's
if you
because
watch
it was-
one, you might as well watch two because
Well, okay.
first and second almost coincide.
Well, yeah. Well, the first one because the first
If
one
you watch two, you might
hadn't-
as well watch three.
if you hadn't
so
seen
on.
the first
They
one,
all suck.
the first one was unique. They hadn't done that
Yes.
yet, so that's why that one was cool. The second one was like
happened to the
was
people?
just more entertaining. It was like let's see how we could make this. It was like Final Destination if death was sadistic as hell,
Yeah.
basically, and that's what that one was.
But-
like Final Destination 2, I enjoyed the shit out of the first one, but the second one, I laughed. I had a great time watching.
Which
that
one was the second one?
The second one, that was the one where they had the pile up on the interstate,
Oh, okay.
and the kid that goes in for the dental thing, and he
Oh
comes out
my
and scares
God,
the birds.
yeah.
That when that plate that pane of glass falls and just splats him. I did that. I backed it up. I played it in slow mo. I laughed for like 30 solid minutes. I did not realize because my girlfriend at the time, her mom had come to stay with us, and I forgot she was there. So she just heard me like laughing maniacally as this poor boy goes splat and just becomes strawberry jam.
Wow.
And I was like, that is fucking awesome. Like it was the best thing I'd ever seen.
She's sitting there behind you from the kitchen. She's just like holding this glass of water, just steadily pouring on the floor, just.
All in stop motion. She's like,
It's all like goddamn stop motion.
I've got a true story to.
What, you say my
To give
crap
to you
isn't
guys.
true?
this is the truth.
No, yours has been in the headlines. Everybody knows about that. This is one that not everybody knows about. Real quick, I just want to show you guys the picture real quick, if you can see what it is.
Oh, that's my house.
It's a it's a picture of a handprint on a window, and there's a coffee pot in the picture for what's it called? Size
comparison.
Yeah, for a comparison.
That's all. I was looking at.
And the handprint is larger than the coffee maker,
Oh my god, it is.
That's intense.
and it's a handprint on the window.
Looks almost like an alien
Now
hand
this
print.
this picture is actually from a police department in Erie, Pennsylvania, and this handprint. The handprint in the photo is black because they, whenever they dust for prints, they use a black sort of a powder, and it sticks to the oils left behind. And so the handprint on the window is black, and it was found on a missing student's dorm room window.
Here's a question. I want to pose this real quick. The fingers look like they're above where the window would open. Do you think maybe the window was cracked and the handprint was actually a normal size at one time, and then they just shut the window, and now it looks elongated?
That is possible. And maybe even likely, but if you look at the sheer size of the palm print, the width of the palm print, and the coffee maker is in the foreground of the picture.
That is true.
So the palm print.
Yeah, but that's not that. I mean, honestly, that's not that big.
Coffee maker is about that big.
And it's still bigger than the coffee maker, and it's in the background.
That coffee maker is almost
unless it's a single serving coffee maker.
If the picture was on
It's a college student. It's a college student. They do make small coffee pots for college students.
So what we're looking for is an NBA player.
Okay. Well, I labeled this foul basketball player. But all right, just listen to the story. All right, it was a 19-year-old college student. Her name was Elizabeth. I'm not gonna say the last name for whatever reason she disappeared. I don't want her family to get all pissed off at us or whatever.
They're gonna know.
Right. And she disappeared from a Pennsylvania university on the night of February 12th, 2007. Her room was located on the 3rd floor of the building. The door was locked and there was no ledge outside of the window or a fire escape. Her roommate woke up in the morning having heard nothing unusual overnight and simply assumed that Elizabeth had left to go to class early. The roommate later told investigators that was when she noticed the handprint on the window and knew immediately that everything Elizabeth had been talking about was true and it was real. The previous evening, Elizabeth had remarked to her friends that she had a strange experience walking back to her dorm from a late-night dance rehearsal. As she made her way across campus, she gradually got the uneasy feeling that someone was watching and following her. She seemed so relieved to be back in her room again, her roommate said. No trace of Elizabeth has yet been found, and the investigators called it the most baffling missing person case of their careers. Since the above image has been circulating in the internet for nearly 2 years, it is difficult to say for certain if the photo is genuine, although it matches what students and investigators have described. Note the size in relation to the coffee pot in the foreground.
Damn.
You'd think our suspect would be pretty easy to spot because he would stick out in a crowd with 11-inch fingers.
Here's a question, though. It said she got up and thought maybe she had already gone to class until she saw the handprint. So the handprint was visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you've seen a handprint on
Well,
glass.
I've seen, yeah, but, if you're not looking for a handprint on glass, you're not, you're not going to go, oh, well, I just cleaned that.
The weird thing is, though, if she was going to get coffee that morning, or the afternoon, depending on if she was doing it and looking out the window.
Tall man.
The tall man.
Boy. You guys
Slenderman.
Well, there's a tall man, wasn't there?
Tall man. Slenderman.
No, there's two different things.
No.
Tall man steals children.
Well, she's a child. Well, no, 19, but still.
Slenderman is just a made-up fictional character.
Yeah, that was made for a...
Tall man, though.
Which one was the one from Phantasm?
Tall man.
Tall man. Okay, well, this is a different tall man.
But
that's what I thought of too, Ross.
With 3 stories, though.
Speaking of which, I saw that not too long ago, and it's freaked me the fuck out.
I like that movie. It's
a great movie.
Great for the time
Phantasm?
it came out.
Yeah, 79. It was rough.
All right, that's another thing.
I thought it was like 80, 81 maybe. Wow.
Another thing about the handprint is it was a 3rd-story window. There's no ledge or fire escape outside the window, and the handprint is on the outside of the window.
It's on the outside of the window.
Yeah.
So did they use scaffolding to get up there and put dust all over it? I mean,
I don't know. Probably.
On it. What did they?
I don't know.
They climb up. I mean, how did they climb up there to put their?
Technically, the police
fire department.
I was like,
they would have found a way.
Oh no, they probably got a cherry picker from the fire department.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay,
the question
I'm
is,
going to pick
like-
this apart logically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the question is, like, if this is like a normal, grab and run case, then how did they get up there in the first place?
Well, here's the
without a sound or anything.
What does this girl
Easy.
look like? Is she worth stealing?
Alien.
Yeah, that's what I thought
The
too.
UFO
What does she look like? Is she worth stealing? That's what I want to know.
Just kind of hovered there.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
The fucking handprint
probably.
looks like an
She
goes to
handprint,
dance classes.
Oh, whoop-de-doo. There's a whole class of dance kids. Come
South
on.
Park. Hey guys, she'll probably return in a couple years. The aliens are just taking care of the TV probe in her ass.
No, she didn't disappear.
though.
She ran off and got married to Ray Ray, but she knew her parents wouldn't appreciate her with a black man, so she just ran off and didn't tell nobody.
I have one more
She
story.
found out she was pregnant.
Cool, I'm good with that. Let's go.
I have one more story, and this is from a forest ranger who works just north of the U.S. border.
Canada.
It's kind of it's written in a strange style, so it's written in
Like shorthand or something?
No, it's written in first person. Yeah, it's kind of a shorthand.
Okay.
So I'll try to read it as best I can in a way that's understandable. This guy, he's a forest ranger for a large amount of dense forest just north of the U.S. border, and he had just signed on to his shift. He got a call on the radio for a 1049, which is a missing person report in his area. Last seen wearing a sweatshirt, hiking shorts, and a red backpack. And they had been missing for 2 days, and it was just reported. So he mounts up and fueled up and headed out into the area that the missing person was last known to be in. And he was cruising around for about an hour and a half and decided it would be a good idea to start out on foot, as the person wouldn't be on any service roads. So he notified dispatch to send out an additional unit, and he waited for an hour and a half until his backup arrived. It was just another one of the rangers that he worked with, and they headed up on a trail that was known for people getting lost on, and halfway up the trail splits and goes further into the woods instead of curving around and heading back towards the service area. So he had been hiking around for about an hour, calling out the person's name and keeping eyes out for clues. He winds around the bend and finds the remnants of a campsite, and he shouts out for his partner and the missing gentleman. His partner doesn't come around the corner, so he goes back around the corner to find his partner, and his partner isn't there. So he tries to call him up on the radio. Smith, come in. Officer Smith, are you code 4? Nothing comes back on the radio. And so he inspects the campsite and notices that it's a fairly recent campsite, maybe about a week, and that there had been no footprints or indents in the mud surrounding the fire pit except for animals. So he decides to wait for his partner in case he had gotten lost, and he tries the radio again, and his partner still doesn't come in on the radio. So he's looking around in the trees, listening for any sounds out of the ordinary, and he waits for another 45 minutes for his partner while walking around a little circle around the campsite looking for clues. His partner doesn't show up, so he begins to get worried. He goes back around the bend in the trail past a little rock outcropping, and he heads back the way that they had both come in, looking for any sign of the person. As he comes up to a hill, he hears footsteps ahead of himself, and it sounded like boots on the rocky path. So he comes up on the radio again, calling out for his partner. He still gets nothing on the radio, and so he sprints up the trail a little bit to find whoever it was that he heard on the trail. And he spots a red backpack and thinks it's the missing person because it matches the description. And he says that the person is walking a little funny and wasn't moving his arms, and it seemed like they were walking almost like a robot. He says, "Excuse me, sir, what's your name?" And he's about 20 feet behind him at this point. "Sir," he says. He's still walking like a robot. "Hey," he calls out to him. He stops and turns around, lightning fast. "Are you so-and-so?" he asks. He just stares at the officer. And he asks him if he was the missing person again. And the person still doesn't speak but nods his head. And so the officer informs him that they've been looking for this person, and that they should head back to the trail that he came from. And after about 40 minutes, they reached the trailhead, and his vehicle and his partner's vehicle are still there where they had left them. He tells the missing person, "I'm going to put you in the back of my truck. You're not under arrest. It's just so you can relax and catch your breath." And so he tries the radio again to get his partner up, to find out where he's at. And the radio, he finally gets an answer, and his partner says he's okay, and his partner informs him that he found the missing person, and that he had a broken leg and had fallen off a small cliff. And his partner informs him that he's patched up the missing person, and that they were on their way back to the vehicles. And then he apologizes for not responding because he was out of range and got separated at one of the trail forks. And so he calls back on his partner and tells him that he's got the missing hiker and that he's in the back of his vehicle right now. And he tries calling the partner back a few times but gets silence for a few minutes. And then finally, his partner calls back and tells him to lock his truck and to grab the 12 gauge from his Jeep. And he calls back, wondering what this guy's talking about. Why would he need his gun? And so his partner says, "Just do it and don't let it out of your sight." And so he unlocks his Jeep and grabs the 12 gauge to inspect it and see if there's a round in the chamber. And he calmly walks over to his truck to peek in the window, and there was nobody in his vehicle anymore. And the cage was bent open where the driver's side door was. And so he swings around to the other side of his truck and looks into the cab. There's no one in there. And so he closes the door and climbs into the bed of the truck and sits on the roof for an hour and a half, shitting his pants in terror until his partner got back with the injured hiker. He looks at me.
"You let it get away?"
And he replies, "What do you mean by it?" And his partner tells him that...
"I'll tell you later."
Well, his partner, he goes on to say that his partner never did tell him, about what it was that he saw. And, let's see. He talked to his partner again later on, when they were on the same assignment again in a different area, or in the same area. And it was about a month after this happened. And he pulls up next to his partner's Jeep and says, just a little bit of chit chat about how his shift's going. And his partner tells him
A couple, idiot kids decided, we're drinking and having sex and shit.
And so he asks him about the incident a month ago and tells his partner that he's been trying to figure it out what happened, but it just keeps confusing him. And he tells his partner, "You never told me exactly what it was or why you had me lock my truck and grab a gun." And his partner says,
"Well, it's not something that you need to know about. It would be in your best interest to keep your nose clean of it from now on."
And he thinks his partner's fucking with him and tells him not to try to scare him with any secret agent bullshit. And he asks his partner to explain what he thought it was. And his partner just looks at him and says,
"It's something that's lived here long before I ever took this job. I used to live in this area at night, and I would always hear my neighbors' voices calling my name, or the family dog barking when the dog was on my bed."
And so, the guy was interested now, but dispatch interrupted them about a call about kids shooting animals. And
it's a shape changer. I know that.
And so he says he's a forest ranger. He works on the Canadian border with
I'm not too
some
sure.
forest rangers in very thick, deep woods.
I'm familiar that,
So, yeah.
for us in the lower states, we have known to have the Wendigo. As these states, we do have a couple.
Well, Wendigo's up north. That's Indian. That's more of a Canadian thing.
Well, no, we
got skunk ape.
Yeah.
What's the one?
Well, this was north. This was on the Canadian.
Well, Wendigo
US
was
border.
just that's what happens when you that's the demon that takes you over
when you eat flesh.
When you eat human
I
flesh.
feel bad for Skunk Ape though, because he's never fucked with anybody. People just keep fucking with him.
Yeah.
They get a picture and some rednecks are like, "Oh, we're gonna catch this thing," and like they just keep fucking with him. Like if they
There's no real skunk ape. I've seen a skunk ape head, and it's a deer's ass with antlers.
What's weird is that
that's like a fake joke.
changelings
thing.
aren't really common in our part of the woods. They're mostly in the Europe is where shape changes originated from.
Yeah.
But like the worst we have are again skunk ape. I mean we have the wisps. I mean we have
Wisps.
Yeah.
Wisps.
kind of like will o' the wisps. You know, they essentially lead you astray. Pretty much, they used to
lead you astray and kill you.
Well,
Oh,
they don't
shit.
kill you, but they lead you astray. Like they lead you, off a
die.
top.
That's the point.
You die from starvation.
There's
or the
sirens
cold.
on land, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of which, it's kind of funny. I don't know if y'all saw the Discovery special of mermaids.
No.
It was a completely fake documentary, and they Discovery Channel
I heard
got
about
ripped
it.
about it. But essentially, they were talking about how the Navy was doing a. This actually happened, but they were doing some testing on some new sonar weaponry, and it killed a bunch of whales. And the whale, well, it didn't kill the whales. Pretty much, it made the whales go, "Oh, what the fuck is going on?" And they beached
So they
themselves.
killed the
Mass beachings. Well, they went on and they said, "Yeah, there are a bunch of whales up here, but there weren't just whales. There was a humanoid figure on the beach."
Whoa.
Yeah, and so and so this whole and pretty much everyone was hush hush about it, and essentially Discovery came in and was like, "Oh, we're gonna make this into a document." And I mean, all the stuff is CGI. They make fake tissues. I mean, look, sadly, you can't watch anything on TV nowadays because they literally can't.
It was like that alien autopsy that came out around '94.
Yeah.
It was just bullshit. It was like, it was at the height
Oh
of
shit!
X-Files.
I saw that on
I think
TV
that
when
was
I was a
real.
child.
Yeah,
and I was
that was like the highlight during the highlight of X-Files. Everybody's like X-Files, X-Files, X-Files. Dana and Scully, yay! And they were like alien autopsy, and it was like watch us dissect a real alien, and you're like, no, what?
What? And then, but at
I
the
was
same,
too young to know.
That's what
At the same time, though,
I kind of saw some arguments proving that was real. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna let Ross continue though.
well, at the same time, they were
Get
doing
into it right now.
like the Navy was testing when they were doing the testing of the sonar, they were taking different readings, and they were doing a sonar reading, and it had the whale, they had the whale pod, and you hear the whale noises, and then then they said, there's things you can hear, and then there are things you cannot hear. Like, as you know, whales can go in different pitches we can't hear, so they altered it, and they said, this is, more things that they are saying. Mm-hmm. And then he said, and you hear this ping every now and then, and he's like,
The bloop.
yeah, the whoop. And then, not the bloop.
Have you heard about the bloop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go into this little ping, and then you hear a huge array of octaves that we can't even hear, but they were going on at where the whales were, and pretty much they brought the same levels together, and essentially the whales and these things were having a they were having like a fucking bar mitzvah.
They were doing a podcast.
And then you hear the sonar bomb go off, the boom, and then you hear the whales go, "What?" And then the things go, "What?" It's funny because everyone was like, "Oh, cool, mermaids," because fucking Little Mermaid, and "Oh, look how pretty we are." No, and what's really weird is that mermaids have different species. You have the freshwater and the saltwater. You have the Atlantic and the Pacific. The Atlantics are almost extinct, thanks to us. The Pacific ones are actually still in existence.
Wait, are you talking about mermaids?
Yes.
Oh, so wait, I thought you said this was a falsified documentary.
It was a falsified documentary based on things that they found.
Oh, so this is supposedly real.
Yeah. Well, but it's kind of funny because they've gotten so many different testimonies from over the years. Like you've probably all heard of the swamp alligator boys and the catfish girls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think they are? They're fucking mermaids and mermen.
They're freshwater.
In the
They're
swamp.
freshwater. Yes.
They're hillbillies.
They slowly come out of the swamp playing a banjo.
But I mean,
Made from cypress.
but the principles
Where's
are
town at? Town's back where you came.
but the principles are always the same. Because I was actually pretty happy in Pirates of the Caribbean 4. They actually went back to how mermaids were originally supposed to be portrayed as evil, conniving bitches.
Maybe that's the reason they had that documentary though. because the Pirates of the Caribbean movie became it was a big hit.
No, it was
And
before the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Maybe that went before the Pirates.
No, I mean it was before On Stranger
Part 4.
Tides.
Right, no, I know that, but see, here's the thing though. They knew what was coming up. Like somebody somewhere said, "Yeah, it's gonna be about it's gonna have fucking mermaids in it or something." They're like, "Mermaids, cool. We'll jump on the band. We'll do this first."
They're
So
all
throw that
smoking
thing out
pot,
there.
sitting in a room in the Discovery office.
Dude, I would so bang a mermaid, and they're like, "Where?" It's got a fishtail and tits. It's like, I would titty fuck.
I would get her to suck my dick.
But at the same time, you're thinking about this, and it's like again, they could exist. I mean, again, if somebody really did not want to be found. I mean, look at fucking Bigfoot. We did find finally the chupacabra. We got that bastard.
Who told you that?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, which time?
Which Texas person told you they got a chupacabra?
The last time I saw anything about chupacabra was on Discovery Channel, and they kept going chupacabra. And it was like, okay, and it turned out to be like a mangy dog. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny because they keep finding these mangy dogs, and I've seen a lot of I work at a vet clinic. I've seen a lot of mangy ass
The
dogs.
tails and shit, like
that's
no dog. Like how it's got that long, almost
rat tail,
looking tail.
and like all the bodies
tail.
match. Like when you see a mangy dog, I mean, a mangy shepherd is not going to look like a mangy pit bull.
Is it like a large blood-sucking rodent?
Stuff
Well, the newest one they
A
had,
hairless rodent?
the newest one they had was a raccoon with mange.
I mean, again, the thing was massive. Did you see the size difference?
Yeah, it was
I've never
pretty
seen a
big.
raccoon that big before. I mean,
There could be some big raccoons.
Hey,
Not
everything's
that
bigger in
big,
Texas.
Not the size of
Everything's bigger than
yeah, it's true, but again, raccoon.
Hairless rat.
a fucking raccoon could rape me and take my fucking money, man.
But again,
I don't want to run across that.
I mean, look at the bodies. Look at the bodies. Look at them. You'll be like, there's no way that can look
I
like.
don't know, man. There's so many things out there. Like I don't know.
And then
but the teeth, they don't. There's no way it could suck blood. No,
Well, maybe it didn't
Might
suck
not
blood. Maybe it just
suck
ate the
blood.
goats.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, so if again, Texans are not the brightest people in the world, so you think the
Whoa.
chupacabra might go?
No, but they have the biggest guns.
Guns in the
so
world.
shut up.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Anybody
If
in Texas that might actually hear this one day.
We like your guns. They're very nice guns.
And your belt buckles are shiny.
I like your 10-gallon
And
hats.
large.
I like your.
I like your cheerleaders.
Yeah. I like you guys. You're cool.
How you fit that 30-gallon head in that 10-gallon hat?